sorry. It has been a while since I posted, and I'm sorry, but I warned you guys I was going off to college and this was going to happen, and it did. So I'm making the cosplay piece today, and this is going to be a Jedi belt for my Jedi costume that I have, which I do hope to very soon make a video explaining how I made that costume, because I made it a few years back. But I never actually made a belt for it. I was just using another belt that I had, and it just doesn't fit right and it doesn't look good, and like my lightsaber, it's too big, so my lightsabers like pull it down and it looks terrible. So I'm finally making a belt for it, and the reason I decided to do this now is because a few months ago I started a TikTok account for cosplay. So if you want to check that out, I'll put a link in the description box below. And basically I just make TikToks in character as my Jedi original character that I made up. So you can see my full costume and everything there. But very soon I will do a video explaining how I made the costume itself. So yeah, let's get right into it. Alright, so here's kind of everything that I plan on using laid out. I may end up at some point, needing something else and going and grabbing it. But for now, this is my general plan. So I have the two belts here. These are actual real leather belts that I got used. I got them on ThreadUp, which is a online thrift store. Any leather belts in like the colors and sizes that you want will work fine. This one I actually already cut. I did try kind of do sort of like a mock-up, like throw it together kind of for a couple of my TikToks that I made because I really wanted to use it, but it was really thrown together, so I'm going to put it together for real this time. But that's one of the first steps, is to trim that off. This is a buckle like thing that I got off of Etsy. It's like where I think it hooks into the thing. Yeah, something like that. I thought it looked similar to the Jedi's buckles, so yeah. And then these are the clips for my lightsabers. I have two lightsabers, so obviously if you only have one lightsaber, you only need one of these. I got these off of Amazon. It was $8 for both of them. They're supposed to be like belt clips for keys, but instead I'm using them for lightsabers. So they have a lot of different versions of like the key clip things on there, so just get whatever seems good for you. And then, okay, so this will seem weird, but I just grabbed these at the dollar store, and they're just permanent markers. Basically, I want the caps off of them. So just basically looking for any kind of caps that are like this sort of shape, because they're going to be the little like food ration things that are on the belt. So yeah, and then this is duct tape, silver duct tape, that I'm going to use to cover some of these because they usually are like different colors. Ideally, I could spray paint them, like have one black, have one silver, one is usually like bronze, and then one's more of like a gold color. Ideally, but I don't have spray paint here at college. If I go back home, I don't know if we have those colors of spray paint. I think we have silver and maybe gold. But for now, I'm just going to have it be like 2 black, 2 silver. And I think that'll look fine. And then I have scissors. I have this hemp. I'm not sure if I'm going to use it. But just in case, because I'm not sure how I'm going to secure the belts together. And then I have my sewing stuff, and this is like my leather working stuff. So I have some like scrap leather and different like tools to use for leather in there. Okay, so the first thing that I want to do is take the thicker belt, because you need one of the belts needs to be wider than the other, obviously, because you're going to stack them. And so the wider belt, I'm going to take, I already sewed one of the pieces on earlier, but I'll explain that in a second. You're going to just take it, and it's best if you're like actually in the costume you're going to wear it with, which I measured this when I was in cosplay. So, and you're going to go around, I wanted it on the very smallest hole, and then whatever excess leather you have, you're just going to cut off. so that it doesn't go past like the buckle area. And I went ahead and also removed like the loop thing that was here, just because that was going to get in the way. So you want to have it like this. So it's okay if this thing's kind of just flopping there, because the other belt's going to go over it, and so is this thing. So that's the first thing you're going to do. Next, you're going to take a piece of leather. You can use real leather if you want to. I'm using all real leather for this. But you can also get fake leather to use. And it basically needs to wrap all the way around the buckle, completely covering it, and then have like a pretty good amount left over after. And so what I did was I sewed that, you can see, I sewed that onto here. And then next you're going to take this belt, lay it on top. So basically what's going to happen is that you're going to have this belt on. I don't know what I'm doing here, guys, just so you know. This is completely trial and error. That's how I do pretty much all of my cosplay builds, but this time you're just going to watch me do the trial and error part. So this video might end up long, and I'm sorry. Okay, so basically what I want is that there, this over it, and then I'm going to sew some fasteners to this so that I can just snap it on when I put the belt on. Alright, so I finished sewing the snaps on. So now you can snap these on and it will cover up the buckle in the back. So that's how you can put this on. And have it be seamless around the front. But also I noticed that in the actual costumes there does seem to be like a little thing back here, and it probably is to cover the fastener. Alright, so now we have the thinner belt through here. And if you wanted to, you can just, you know, leave it like this. Leave the buckle the way it is. And everything. It doesn't look terrible, but I feel like it could look better, and so I got this buckle for it. So that's what I'm going to attach next. So next you want to make sure the belt is exactly the size that you want it to be, because once you attach these to it, it's really going to completely lose its like ability to be adjustable. And so at this point you can even go the wider belt underneath and make sure that it's exactly the size that you want, because like I'm thinking I might want it a little bit smaller, because when I know that when I tried it on with my costume it was a little bit loose, like it's got a little bit of wiggle in there. So I might make another hole in it. So for that I'm going to use this. This is a hole punch thing for leather. If you don't have one of these, you can take any kind of thick, sharp object and probably like hammer it through there. But I'm going to use this, and I'm going to go a little bit less than the distance between the existing holes, because this part's not really going to show, and I want it to fit perfectly. I don't want it to be too tight. This is really hard, because it's really thick leather. I don't know if I can do this. This might not be such a great idea. Oh my gosh. I barely dented it. Okay, well I'm gonna figure out how to make a hole in this, and then I'll be back. Okay, so I was able to make a hole in it. I have a hole now. So let's see how that fits. Alright, that seems a little bit better. So you may need to trim the end. I don't think I need to. I think it's gonna be covered by this still. And you want to make sure that the two belts fit together perfectly. So that because you're gonna start cutting the smaller belt now, so that we can attach the other things. So we're going to be removing this thing. So the first thing I'm gonna do on that is I'm going to take a seam ripper, and I'm gonna start ripping out the seams back here that's holding this like flap over so that I can remove this and this. Alright, there we go. So it's seams ripped out now. So now I can just remove the buckle. So now you have it like this. There's a couple of ways you can do this. Because the inside of this is very rough and more like suede leather, I might actually just glue it and not sew it in. I would definitely never glue like the outside, the finished side, because I've tried that before and it does not stick. But the inside, I've had pretty good success in the past with gluing like the inside of leather, so I might actually just glue it because this is going to be really, really thick to sew through. I don't think I could even sew through this with a normal needle. I would have to have some type of like leather, special like machine for sewing leather, not even a regular sewing machine. It wouldn't even do this. So I think I'm going to glue it, and then I'll just like clip it so that it stays. Okay, this is the type of glue I'm going to use. This is what I use on most of my cosplay things, most things that I make in general, honestly. It's a E6000 clear. It's just super glue, honestly. I don't know. It's probably a better way of doing this, but I just put some on like a card basically, and I'm just going to use my hands because this glue comes off of your fingers really easily. So, and I'm gonna see, one reason I didn't cut this ahead of time is that now I can use a lot of surface area, put like glue over quite a bit of it so it'll stick even better. I just put it in the middle. Okay, there we go. So let me get up close so you can see it better. This is what we have. That's the hole where the buckle was before, and this is the new buckle on there, and this will be the front. So it looks really nice. And you want to make sure you don't get glue all over the front of it. It'll come off after it dries, but it's all over me now. Okay. Anyway. So now, this is where the measuring part comes in, because you have all of this. Obviously, it's way too long, so we're going to have to cut it. And we have to measure, make sure that we don't cut too much off. We always cut off more. But I think I'm going to take it, I'm going to cut it about here. So it's far past that, so I'll have room to fold it over and room to work with. So attach that onto there. Oh, this looks so cool. Okay. And thread this through. Until it's tight around the other belt. And preferably past the holes. I think it's going to go past the holes, so that's good. Yeah, it's going to go quite a bit past the holes. Okay, this end really doesn't want to bend because this end was not supposed to bend before. Okay, so I'm fitting it pretty securely around the other belt. You want them to be tight together, otherwise it's going to be a real pain in the rear when you have to attach the two to each other, because this one's going to always want to pull away. Alright, so what we're going to do while this dries is I'm going to start making these things. So obviously it's going to vary what you're able to actually get, but I got, these are like permanent markers, and see the cap looks like this, which is, I think it's like a good shape for the little like ration things. I'll put a picture here if you don't know what I'm talking about, but yeah, I think that they look a lot like those, and I saw like a tutorial a long time ago, I cannot remember where it was, where somebody used this method using pin caps to make these, and they turned out looking really good. So, oh, and one thing that I forgot to mention earlier, because I forgot about it, is that you know, it's not required, but a glue gun, hot glue gun, because basically what we're gonna do is we're gonna take the caps off and like fill it in with hot glue. You don't really have to do that part, you could just leave it the way it is, but they normally have kind of a rounded bottom, and so that's where like the hot glue is gonna come in. So yeah, I forgot to plug in my glue gun, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that and probably move the camera so that we're closer to an outlet, so we can do that. Alright, so we're at my desk now and the hot glue gun is heated up, so I'm gonna take the cap off of one of these, and basically what I'm going to do is just like put hot glue in it. I might not like really actually like fill them up, because I feel like that's going to be a huge waste of glue, but I'm going to fill like the end of it with hot glue. Alright, so while I'm still here holding this one while it cools, the best way I found to do it is to like put some of the glue in, then let it cool a little bit. It doesn't have to cool completely, just like cool a little bit, and then put more in, and then just like keep doing that in like sections, so it's not like this big mass of like hot glue inside it that's like not cooling down ever. And then you just gotta kind of just sit there and twist it, turn it upside down, turn it the other way and stuff, just to make sure that it is a nice even round end. So these are the ones that I already did that are pretty much cool. That's what they look like. This one's still cooling. And then basically what I'm going to do is probably 2 of these I'm going to wrap with this, and then the other 2 I want to leave black, but I realized that this is very not black. So I do have some black duct tape, so I might just cover those ones in black duct tape, or even just the bottom, or just leave them. I mean, it doesn't look terrible. Can't really tell it's hot glue, honestly. Okay. So also at this point, if you decided to, you'd rather spray paint them instead, which I honestly think is probably the better option. I just don't have spray paint right now. I may in the future take the duct tape off and spray paint them. But at this point you would sand it down, because this spray paint's not going to stick very well to the shiny plastic. So just lightly sand it so that it's a little bit porous, and then use spray paint make sure the spray paint is made for plastic, because if it's not, it's just going to flake off and make a mess and not work. Okay, now that these have finished cooling, I'm going to duct tape the silver ones first, because I haven't decided for sure yet if I'm going to duct tape the black ones. So I'm just going to take some duct tape. And I'm going to go under the clip part, since the clip is going to be what clips it to the belt. I don't know if you can see, like, yeah, the pin clip that clips it to the belt. I'm not going to cover that part of the duct tape because it's not going to show, and the duct tape would get kind of in the way. So I'm going to go under that. Okay, when I get to, I'm just kind of folding it around the end like this. That's the end that was glued. And then I'm going to cut like a circle, sort of. I'm going to try it anyway. I don't know if it's going to work, but. Okay. I cut a circle. It's a little bit bigger than the circle on the bottom, and I'm just going to put that on top. Kind of fold the ends around. Yeah, that actually doesn't look bad. There we go. And then now I just have to cover up the top. Okay, I'm going to go from clip, go around, cut off the extra. And just gonna put the extra right over the little tip on the top. And just kind of smooth all the edges together. Sorry, my phone had a notification. Alright, there we go. Actually, I don't think it looks bad. I mean, it would be better if it was spray painted, but it's not bad. It's not bad, so. And then I'm just gonna do the same thing on the next one. Alright, so I just tried putting these on the belt, and I realized that this is a very thick belt. So these little tiny clips don't really work that well. So what I think I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a thinner piece of leather and make it so it can be slipped onto this belt, and these can slip onto it. And I've seen that in at least some of the pictures of the Jedi's belts, they do have, I'm not totally sure, but I think that they do have like a little thing that these actually go on, or in even, on their belts, so that will, it'll still be somewhat accurate. And a piece of leather that doesn't clash. I think this is the same. That's the same leather that I used to make the back thing. So that'll work well. Okay, so I basically cut a piece like this out of the leather. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these little parts and curl it around the back like that and stitch it so that those will go onto the belt, and then I can just hook the these onto it. Oh, one problem though. It has to get over that. Okay, what I can do actually though is put hooks, or either snaps or hooks, probably hooks, on these. So then it'll just go around and hook, and then I won't even have to undo the latch. So I'm gonna go ahead and sew those on. And also, obviously, most of the Jedi have like little leather pouches on their belts too. I'm not gonna show how to make those in this tutorial necessarily, because it's basically you make it out of leather. I might later on make one or two. Basically, I'll just take leather, sew it together into a little pouch, put a loop on it, and put it on the belt. Like, there's not a lot of explanation, and it's very just like heavily sewing. So like if you already know how to sew, making a pouch isn't hard. So like I don't feel that it's necessary to make a tutorial for it, but if you do want to see a tutorial for that, let me know in the comments. I don't mind to do a tutorial for it. It's just going to be a lot of me sitting there sewing leather. So I didn't think it was really necessary to include it in this. Plus I'm not going to do it today. I'll do it like, you know, at a later time. I just want to get the belt usable now, and then later on when I have more time, because that will take a while to make the pouches, I'll do it then. But so now is the hard part, because I don't actually know how I'm going to do this part. Most of the other stuff I had a general idea, I had a plan of what I was going to do, but now, not so sure. So basically I need to attach these so that the thinner belt stays on top of and centered on the thicker belt, like that. And I don't know how I'm going to do that, because the way I've figured out that I think it's done in the movies, and that most of the like prop belts that you buy are done, is they have these little like metal things that like come out and just like hook over the edge of the smaller belt, and they're done by like, you know, putting a hole through the leather and inserting the little thing, and like I don't know what any of the words for these things are, but like it's like a metal thing, and they like, I know they like pound it with a hammer or something, and it like bends the metal around the leather or something to like hold it in, something like that. I know how it's done, I just don't know what it's called. But it's stuff that I don't have. Tools that are very expensive, and like the little metal things aren't cheap. So it's a rather expensive thing to do, and I don't have the money or the tools or the time or knowledge to do that. So I'm gonna have to figure out something else. One thing I could do is take like scraps like this, or even just other pieces of leather, and make like little belt loops around it. I wouldn't do anything this thick, but sort of something like that. That could be an option, to just sort of have like little strips going around. I don't think that would look bad. If this leather was rougher, I would consider gluing it, but it's pretty smooth, and so I don't think that that's gonna stay really. I'm not even gonna try sewing these because they're way too thick. That would just be almost impossible. So I just had another idea, which is you could use Velcro on here, because what you could do is sew it to this side, because this part's shiny and slippery and it's not going to glue well to that side, and then glue it to this. So that would be an option too, especially if you had a sewing machine with like a heavy, really super heavy duty needle. You could use a sewing machine to sew it to this. So that might be good. I'm gonna see if I have any Velcro. I don't think I do, but I'm gonna check real quick. Okay, my camera died, but so basically, I'm not exactly sure where it died, but I have Velcro, so I'm gonna do the Velcro. I actually went ahead while it was charging and sewed it on to the lower belt. It was pretty difficult to sew on, but I got it, and I think it was still easier than it would have been on this belt. I used this really thick thread that I have, which I showed before, but basically it's like really thick. And I doubled it up. That's what I've been doing on everything that I've been sewing onto the leather. Basically, you put it through the needle and then you pull it so that the ends are even. And so that way when you're sewing, you actually are sewing 2 threads through at a time. And that just helps you not have to do as many actual stitches to make it stronger and still hold on well. So that's what I did on this. And then I just did a couple of stitches in each one. I put it so that there's one right by like the clasp on each side, and then I have one more like kind of halfway through on the long side, and the short side I just have the one. I'll see if I need another one, but I don't think I will on this side. So next all I have to do is glue the other pieces onto the short side, the thin belt. And now we're just gonna wait for them to dry, and then we can put these little things on and our lightsaber belt clips. And I'll show you a little bit more with the lightsabers later on when I show you the finished product, but that's pretty much it. We're done now. So you're just gonna let that dry, and then afterward I'll come back and show it to you all put together. Alright, so I actually waited till the next day just to make sure the glue was completely dry before I put the belt on and everything. So I'm just wearing regular clothes, but here it is. This is the finished belt. It's got the little ration things, and then here's the lightsaber clips. You can see, and I have my lightsabers. And these lightsabers are very heavy. They're the main like metal part is made out of metal conduit, so they're very heavy, and these and the belt hold them on perfectly fine. That was one of the issues I had with my other belt, was because it was a little bit too big on me, it would sag way down, but these, they're being held perfectly in place. It feels sturdy, like they're gonna stay that way, so I'm really happy. And I really like how this buckle ended up looking. It looks really good. So yeah, this is it. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like and subscribe to my channel. I'll be posting lots more cosplay tutorials, as well as showing you cosplays I've already completed and explaining how I did them. My next video that I plan to do is my Jedi cosplay, my entire thing, and explain how I made it. If you do want to see the lightsabers I made, I will put that link in the description box below. I already did a video where I explained all of that. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to film actually making them. I tried to film part of it and I lost the video files, so but I did do a video like kind of where I explained after the fact. So yeah, if you have any questions or requests for videos, let me know in the comments down below. I can't promise that I'll post again soon, but I will definitely answer your comment if you ask a question. And I'm going to try to post another video as soon as I can. Alright, thanks.